Welcome to Pioneer Eye on Sports. I'm Jacob. Joining me is the 2015 Conference USA Coach of the Year, Jim McGuire. Jim, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great. I appreciate it.
So how long have you been a coach?
So if I start to add everything up, I mean, it basically is as soon as I finished playing, then I started coaching. So it's going to be 38 years, I guess, that I've been involved in coaching at some level. Somewhere along the way.
And what made you interested in coaching? Was it the love for the game or just...
Yeah, it ended up being the love for the game. I never thought I would coach. I mean, when I started in school, I academically was a business major and I thought when I got done playing, I would finish playing and then just go right into the business world. I didn't know what that was going to look like. Going to be a business management major, and then right before I'm finishing out my junior year in college, and my college coach, Woody Hunt at Cumberland University, got me involved in some things and said, hey, have you ever really thought about it? I think you'd be good at it. I think you got the makeup or the thought process. And I started coaching a 15 and under team that summer, and then, fell in love with it and being around it, and then really realized, I really couldn't live without the game, and I wanted to be involved in it in some way. I guess with everything out there now, I may have done a different direction. I may have been on the professional side because of what's out there in sports management that wasn't the case back then. But I'm thankful that I went into coaching and able to make a career out of it.
It's very, very similar to me. So I went to Cumberland, studied sports management. Now I'm here. But I'm also a football coach for middle school football because I'm just like you. I love football, love the game. Can't not be around it. I love bringing people together and trying to make them better and seeing the transition grow throughout the season. And speaking of transition and growing, how would Vol State's baseball team this year, how would you say they have transitioned and grown from start to finish?
Well, I think we're definitely better now than we were in the middle of the season. We started out okay. I mean, everything was kind of a pretty good transition to get started. Our first couple weekends were not as good, but then it picked up, but then we hit a stretch in the middle that was pretty rough. I mean, we did not play well. We didn't win many games. So we dug a hole, and now we're slowly starting to dig our way back out of it. And that's what you want. In the end, you want to be able to see some progression. You don't want to see the waves through the whole season. But that happens sometimes. Sometimes it's injury, sometimes it's performance, sometimes it's the schedule you're playing. But now I feel like we're moving in the right direction. We only have 2 weekends left to play, trying to finish on a strong note where you get some positivity moving into the off season as you keep going through recruiting. And I think that's what recruits want to see too. They want to look and see that you've gotten better, that your players have gotten better, that you're moving them on, but then your team's gotten better as well. Because in the end, look, I want to develop as many players as we can and get them better. But if you're a coach, you want to win. I mean, the competitiveness comes out that in the end, you want to win as many games as you can because that's how you're defined. In the end, that's how your team is defined on your wins and your losses. But I do feel like we're in a good spot. I hope we can continue it. We've had a few guys injured that we do have back now that I think will make a difference as we finish it out. And then again, be able to finish this year out and then get ready for the next.
Okay. And while transfers are looking at potentially coming to Vol State, what would you say is the hardest thing about transfers? Is it the new NIL that's going around, or what makes it hard?
Yeah, it is now. The NIL is making it harder for us to get transfers. The portal makes it hard for us too, because the old NCAA rules were that if someone was going to transfer, they either had to sit out a year or they had to drop down and go to junior college for a year before they could transfer again. So now that's all off the table. So now you can go from Division I to Division I, or you can go Division II school to a Division I. I mean, it's just so all over the map. So it makes it a little bit tougher, but a lot of players now, though, that are at Division I schools that have either been redshirted or they kind of get pushed out, they want to play. So it does open up, the junior college option does open up for them. And that's where I think I've got to do a little better job. We've got to stay on top of those transfers because 1 or 2 transfers can make a huge difference in your team and in your program. You think it might have to be 3 or 4, but it doesn't sometimes if you get the right ones. And we've had a couple, but we need to, I got to be better with that part of it. You don't have access to the portal as a junior college, but you got to communicate with other coaches to find out who's out there. But it has affected it sometimes in a little more of a negative way. Everybody thinks it's a positive at our level, but sometimes it's not.
Okay. And the final question here before I wrap it up, if you could describe your coaching career, I know you've had a very long one, a very successful one, but if you could describe it in 3 words, how would you describe it?
Oh, man. It might be one of the toughest questions anybody's ever asked me. Relationship or relationships, I would say would be number one. And I say that not just relationship with the players that I've coached, but from the other coaches that I've coached with to friendships that have been developed over that time. So I would say relationships would be number one. I would say, development would be number 2. And I guess number 3 would just be enjoyment. I mean, it's just been fun, to be able to have it and be able to have a career. I know a lot of guys that I played with, coached with, that didn't have a coaching career, so to speak. They did it for a short time, but to be able to have it and be able to do it and be able to see it from start to finish, I would say that would be the 3 things that I would focus on the most.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you, Coach McGuire, for everything and joining me
Appreciate
today.
it.
I'm Jacob, and this is your Pioneer Island Sports. Thank you for watching.